most part, there's buyers that are out there and representatives of who you're presenting your concept to. And I'll tell you, Marcy, that's great that you've had that type of luck. It's also, it does help, like you mentioned, to have a great prototype. There was a point where I brought so many different products. I sent images of products before I even started thinking about making short videos. I took pictures of different products that I had, and they were like, oh, that's good. It's interesting. It's this, it's that. And then I ended up going, which we'll talk about, going to a trade show. I went to a trade show with my physical prototypes, and I was like, remember this? They're like, that was the picture? I said, yes. I ended up getting 4 licensing deals at one trade show. So
wow.
It does, in some circumstances, absolutely, the concept could be something that'll gauge their interest. And it's good because, Marcy, how much did you spend? $500. You didn't have to spend, well, it's all relative to what your product is, but some people spend a couple thousand. Some people spend $500 on a physical prototype, especially with the 3D printers like Mojo 3D Printers. They're one of our sponsors. They have a desktop printer that you buy, and you can make something now, you know, just like you're printing a piece of paper in your house, something on the regular printer. But there's a lot of different ways to do it. But that's great that you're able to kind of take a virtual thought process and put it into a presentation to be able to pitch your idea and see what kind of opportunity you get. So you filed the provisional patent, then you did this drawing, and then you started to make your presentations?
Correct.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. So, and you're right, Brian. To that point, it does really depend on the product. In my particular case, the products that I had, I could talk to the features and benefits and have the picture, and that really told the whole story. In some cases, a photograph can't tell the whole story.
Understood. All right. So, Marcy, you took your presentation, and what'd you do next? You had some choices now. You had something that you thought about, you put it on paper, or you put it into a presentation on the computer. So you had some options. You said, okay, this is cool. Am I going to manufacture this on my own? And I started off maybe going to that woodworking shop in the college and making up kind of a quick prototype. Am I going to license it, which is to find a company that may make similar type of products, or at least in your industry, and has the manufacturing capability, whether they have their own factory or they're going to outsource it, but they control the manufacturing process, and they also have distribution. They can have their own internal distribution with their own salespeople going to the buyers, or they have an umbrella of sales reps that they control that handles their distribution. So the point is that licensing, you basically give your intellectual property rights to a company, and they kind of take it over to a certain point, and you have some say. But for the most part, they're taking all the risk, and you're making minimum. But hopefully you find the right partner that has the ratio of activity to be able to reap benefits from your royalty.
Exactly.
So what did you do, Marcy? Oh, and I'm sorry. And then there's the third option. I said manufacturing, licensing, and then looking for these type of contests. Now, a lot of people have different opinions on contests. There's been different TV shows that have had different types of searches. So, Marcy, I know one thing. A lot of inventors have asked me, and they've been on the show, really concerned about those type of opportunities. And some, you don't know if they're going to kind of make fun of the inventors, or some they're serious and they feel good, and there's a pot of gold at the end of the show. But you have to make sure that you read the fine print. So, Marcy, you chose the option, the first one, to go to the Homemade Millionaire audition. And what did you do? Did you read the fine print first? Were you skeptical, concerned? Tell me what your thoughts were before you even considered connecting with them.
You know, the truth is that I did read the fine print, but I was in a place where I didn't care what the fine print said. I wanted that opportunity so badly that I would have signed anything. It didn't matter to me. Because also, going into it, as I talked to so many other people that went through the casting auditions, you don't think you're going to win, so the fine print doesn't matter anyway, right? So
Well,
that's kind of where everyone's head is always you just sign it.
sure. Would you do the
Um,
same thing now, though, Marcy, knowing what you know?
well, I did do another competition, and I did read the fine print much more carefully and put some thought to it. So I do recommend that, but you really have to assess your own situation. What was great for me about Homemade Millionaire is, as I mentioned, I had this white binder filled with inventions that I wasn't doing anything with. I felt like I didn't have the time, I didn't have the resources, I didn't have the wherewithal to actually bring these to market on my own. So why not, is what I thought. I just
Okay.
felt like it'll be a ton of fun, and I probably won't win, but what a great experience.
Yeah.
So in that case, the
Sure.
fine print didn't matter because, so you get a small percentage of something, it's better than it never happening at all.
Sure.
Which
I mean,
of-
we do encourage on the show to make sure that you do your research. We always talk about that every step of the way. Whoever you speak to, whoever whoever you choose to start doing business with, you should get some references, make some phone calls, look at the fine print. It's always good to get some sort of legal opinion. It could be a point where you end up, you don't even realize it, but you may end up giving your rights to your product. You may give the rights to them following you around in your personal life, and they have the right to air it because you signed a waiver. I mean, it's exciting.
Well, Brian,
and you were
I
in
have to interrupt you there because
Sure.
that's a very good point, and that's what I meant to say, and I actually skipped over it, is I didn't realize with Homemade Millionaire that I was really signing myself away for 7 years, where I couldn't do anything outside of what this show was setting me up for 7 years. So I was really tied into HSN and to Homemade Millionaire. Fortunately for me, we ended up renegotiating, and that's no longer the truth. That's no longer the way it is. But that could have really been dangerous for me. And
Okay.
I thought when I saw 7 years, I thought, how cool. I'm tied in with HSN for 7 years. That's so great. But you got to realize how much that limits you, because you never know where you're going to be. You never know what opportunities are going to come your way. So, to your point, it is really important to really think through all of that fine print. But you know where you are in your life. Is that fine print important at that time or not?
Sure.
It's a judgment call.
It is, and there's you have to think about what it is. Look, Marcy, now that you realized afterwards that you gave your rights away for 7 years because it turned out to be a successful concept that you went through with them. But you really have to make sure that it's something that makes sense for you, and also who is it? You have to take a look. They're not intellectual property attorneys that are running these shows. You start exposing your idea on there. You have to make sure that you do your due diligence for sure in anything that you do with the invention process and in life. Even a patent attorney or a patent agent. You know what, Marcy? People say, "How do I know that patent attorney or agent will do the right thing by me?" Well, just go on uspto.gov and do a patent search and put in the attorney's name, and you could see how many patents were issued under that attorney. Or you can ask people that attend inventors groups, who do you use? There's probably attorneys that also, or patent agents that show up in the meetings also. The difference between a patent agent and an attorney: a patent attorney is somebody that actually can do all the patent work and also litigates, goes to court and protects infringements and so forth. A patent agent is kind of behind the scenes. A lot of times patent attorneys will hire an agent to do most of the work of writing patents or protection for the intellectual property for utility or those type of things. But it's really interesting, and it's a good point. So you got to experience that, and then on another product you went to, and we've had Lou Foreman on several times on our show as well, from Edison Nation, and you took your product to an Edison Nation search. So tell us about that experience.
I did, and that was kind of an interesting one because I had, believe it or not, the product that I won the Homemade Millionaire with, I had also put through an Edison Nation search for Bed Bath & Beyond, and it was one of the 2 finalists for that particular search, and didn't ultimately end up winning, and then I went on to do Homemade Millionaire and won it there. So that's one thing I want to say is if one door closes, that doesn't mean it's everything is closed. Definitely, keep putting, if you believe in your product, put one foot in front of the other and just keep pushing and push hard and don't ever give up. And that's really what happened with the Style & Go. But I had some experience. I even auditioned for their Everyday Edison's show with the Style & Go, and I made it through a couple phases but didn't make the whole thing. So I had some experience with them, and this other product that I ended up actually winning their Ad Spin on TV search with was something that I loved. I thought it was a very cool product, but I didn't have the time to move forward with that product. I felt like it could do really well, but with the brand that I'm building, it just wasn't a fit at the time. So I thought, heck, just for the fun of it, I'm going to just enter it over at Edison Nation and see what happens. And I entered it and really kind of forgot about it. And then I got an email saying that I had won. And it's been a fantastic process. It's really been a lot of fun. And I didn't know how it would be once I won. Like, would they take my product and I'd never hear from them again, or what happens? And it's been great because I've been able to be an integral part of the development process. And that was something that I asked to be. So, you definitely can ask for things, I think, when you win a competition like that. Mm-hmm. So I've been in touch with the the engineering firm that's actually developing the prototype. They send renditions back and forth. I give my comments. So it's been a fun process, and it's now being prototyped, and they're looking at starting to write the script for the infomercial in the next few weeks.
Okay,
so we'll
that's
see,
great.
What happens from there. But so far, it's been really great, and I think there are a lot of inventors out there that may not have the wherewithal, the resources, the time to do it themselves, and it's a good alternative.
Sure.
Do you make as much money as you would if you either manufactured it or marketed it yourself, or if you went personally and met with the DRTV company and sold the idea to them? No. But maybe you don't have the time and the resources to do that, so it is a good option.
True. So, Marcy, there's kind of a forum going on during the show on the chat, and I'm noticing they're talking about manufacturing overseas and so forth. Well, with our show that we're going over tonight, Marcy chose to go through some of the channels of a TV show, The Homemade Millionaire, which was a real fun show, and she was on the first edition there, the first episode. And there's also Edison Nation. There's a lot of different. There was Walmart just recently had one. As inventors, we have to make decisions what we're going to do. If it's something that we come up with our idea and we're living and breathing it, and we want to be able to start our own business, just make sure that you have it's always good, and there's been successful inventors that have been on here as well that said, I didn't quit my day job. I built it up. I started to do sales, and as the sales started to grow, I weeded away from my day job, and here I have a full-time job of my own product now. A lot of people also just kind of just throw everything in, and it's risky. And you also have to think about how long a product lasts for, continuing to build product lines, which, Marcy, you're in the process of doing as well, with your inventions and your different types of experiences that you're working on right now. But for the most part, you're leaving the manufacturing to companies that already have established factories or different ways of manufacturing, and you're basically collecting the royalties.
A little bit of both of that.
Okay.
When you say collecting the royalties, that I am in the midst of doing some things with some infomercial companies. So in that case, yes, I'm basically completely handing it over and would be collecting a percentage of royalty. For HSN, I'm doing a little bit of both in that I am producing my own. I'm right now sourcing several different inventions that I have. I have a wonderful sourcing specialist that's sourcing them in China right now, and I'm getting pricing back and determining which products I'm going to move forward with and which products I'm going to kind of put on hold.
Okay. And this is the forum that's going on. Inventors, if you're looking to manufacture your own product, we see here there's some people talking about going to, I think I mentioned Alibaba.com. There's China. There's a few different ways here. Some people say to just go to China directly. But it's always good, like Marcy mentioned, to use a sourcing agent. There's sourcing agents that'll kind of represent that already know which factories to make things happen. So there's a lot